Scrappy people. It is December Daily 2022, day 2. And if you remember yesterday, we left off with this holiday movie watch list card that I wanted to incorporate into my day 2 page. So I have a bunch of movie posters that I want to watch with the family this year. We already watched Spirited. And this one is a TV show, but I have 5 altogether. And in a second, you will watch me make this page in Photoshop. But I've provided in the blog post for day 2, I've provided this cut file as a freebie, blank, and there is a 6th door here. It is a silhouette file because it has a missing cut right here, which you can't do with a PNG. So it is just a silhouette file, but if you want to use it, it is going to be on the blog. So my idea is, of course, I've done this before. I love doing it because I like being able to include my reviews of these movies on the layout, but I don't necessarily want to see my reviews of the movies. I think the movie posters are more interesting. So they're going to open up to a door, and behind there will be a second sheet of paper at the end of the month when we've watched all of this, and each door will reveal the movie review from the family. And then I think on the inside flaps I might leave a little room, or like decorate each one of the flaps and leave room for a ranking. So obviously there's 5 movies. Well, this is a series, but maybe I'll just do it in the order that we watch it. Who knows? But I think I'm gonna leave a spot for a number and just decorate the inside flap a little bit. I'm gonna be using my All Is Calm collection today with this layout because it matches these photos really well of us watching the first movie that we watched. So let's go to the fast forwarded voiceover portion.
Okie dokie, so we're starting in Photoshop, and I just want to show you how I built the background for my page using the All Is Calm collection. I pulled the Mary from the Digital Elements. It's kind of glittery and painty, and I added the word movies, and then I wanted to add a couple of things to the page as well. You can see I already have my journaling there, and I'm actually going to rearrange all of this in Photoshop. And then eventually, once I'm done designing it, I take it into Silhouette and create the silhouette file. So you don't need to worry about like how I set this up in Photoshop. If you want to do the same thing that I'm doing on this page, you can just go ahead and download that silhouette file. Or even if you don't have a silhouette, you can just use an X-Acto knife and cut rectangles and then use like a circle punch to cut out those notches if you want to. There's other ways to do it besides the silhouette. I just have a silhouette and I take advantage of it regularly because it is one of my most used tools, if not my most used tool. So I'm adding the 2022 using the green alphabet from the digital kit. I'm going to make it a lot smaller. Another advantage of digital, of course, is to be able to make things smaller and larger to an extent. If you make it too large, it's going to become blurry. I don't like making things any larger than they come, which is kind of why I make my digital embellishments for my collections on the large side so that they can be resized down easily. So I have all of these movie covers. I'm just making sure that everything looks good before I send it over into Silhouette. And I also included in the Silhouette file a cut file for the movie covers. If you decide to do the same thing, you could just drop your image of your movie cover into the extra square on the Silhouette file and it will autofill it and you can cut it out that way. So you can see now I'm rearranging the file. I'm going to move my title down, and I moved the journaling and the photos up, and then I decide I want the journaling in the middle. Of course, the Silhouette file that I have on my blog has 6 doors instead of that journaling spot. If you want a journaling spot in the middle there too, you can just delete that middle door or any door that you want to, and it won't cut out. All right, so now we are back in real life, and I'm going to adhere all of these movie covers, movie posters to their doors. We don't need to watch me do all of them. I'm just aligning them to the door, and I did not quite take into account the fold for these doors. So they are just slightly large on the fold side, so you might want to trim it down just a little bit so that they fold easily. I used my scoreboard and a bone knife or a bone folder to create just a little score so that they fold easily. Now I'm going to work on the pocket side of this and come back to the other side, since I don't need to do too much to the other side. Now I will tell you, and I'm not even going to lie, I struggled with this page big time, and I don't know what it was. It just wasn't coming naturally to me. I think it's because I did a few December daily pages in one day. So because I did that, you know, at some point you get tired and things don't come as easily as they were coming in the beginning of the day. So I just struggled a little bit. So what I do eventually is I just turn off my camera and let it sit, let it marinate, try again when the pressure of the camera has been removed. Sometimes I feel a little bit of pressure when I'm recording everything, because I know that the longer I like hem and haw and go back and forth, the more video I'm gonna have to edit. So I just like to turn my camera off sometimes and think. So this is a photo of me and my dog, and my old dog. She's 14 this year, and I know that she's getting old. I don't even know if we're going to make it to next Christmas at this point. And at this point in time, this was just a couple days after the accident that she had that I was talking about in one of my December daily prep videos. And so I was feeling really tender towards her at the time. So I wanted to make sure that I included that photo in this layout. And I'm going to add a couple of lines of journaling about just how much I love my dog. My dog that's been with me for 14 years, my literal entire adult life, and how glad I am that she's okay. And then this other photo down here is a photo of our living room, pretty much done and decorated, and my kids watching Spirited, which was the first movie that we watched from all of these movies. The only one that we've watched as of this recording, but I do want to watch Violent Night this weekend because it looks pretty hilarious. So I paired the movies that we were going to watch with some photos of us watching the movies. I don't always do that because I don't tend to take photos when we're just sitting in our living room, but because we were also decorating the tree this day, I had a lot of photos, so I could do that. I loved the piece because I really felt like it fit in with the vibe of my photo and the piece that I was feeling with my girl. But I also really liked this all bundled up because she's wearing pajamas. So I decided to cover up the piece and go with all bundled up. And this is where I really started to struggle. So I really loved the idea of this wreath here. I love the circular vibe, the contrast with the rest of the page, and holy crap, you guys, watch this. Oh my gosh. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put down these lights. They need to be done with glue, and I accidentally pulled the entire top off of the glue and did not notice. You can see it there with no top, and here we go. Oh my gosh. So I had glue all over my fingers, so I did what any crafter would do, and I smeared the glue all over the back of this die cut before I cleaned up my mess. Oh, it was bad, but I got it down and I cleaned up my mess and moved on with life. So this holiday movie watch list, I wanted it initially because I was gonna make a list, and then I had the idea for like the advent calendar, and so now I really actually no longer needed this holiday movie watch list card. But since I had planned the entire album to this point around it, like I have pages that come after this that I've already planned, like what orientations are going where, yada yada, I was really sort of committed to having this page be where it was in my album. So I'm going to go with this holiday movie watch list, but I covered up the bottom half of it so it was no longer a list, and I'm going to use it for my number card. And I struggled huge with this number card. That 2 is way old. I think it's pink paisley from a million years ago, so I'm never going to be able to find a link for it. I had just so many of those numbers. I've been using them for years. So I struggled for a long time, and then I remembered that I had some movie-themed wood veneer from Colorcast Designs that I could use on this page, and even then I still struggled. I'm going to use this Admit one, but I really wanted to use this one, but it's just so big and blocky for this specific orientation like of this page. It didn't work well, so I try, and then I'm going to do the Admit one instead. It could have worked maybe if I had had like, if it was day one, and I had like a more solid line to align to it, but it just didn't look great with that too, and I just didn't love how it was coming out. So as much as I struggle with it for a while, this could have worked too if I wasn't covering up words and it made me a little bit insane. I struggled with it for a while, and I was like, no, we're just gonna do something else, and I decide instead to go with the Admit one. So let's pull that off. Pull the two off again. The advantage of getting my papers from my collections printed at Home Depot is Home Depot, Office Depot, is that the paper that they use is somewhat a little bit shiny. It's not super shiny, but it's a little bit shiny. So you can reposition your tape runner quite a bit before it's stuck down for good. So that's always good for me since I'm constantly pulling up things and putting them back down and pulling them up and putting them back down. Such is life. All right, I like that better. This is the point where I turned off my camera and went back to like just thinking. So I have this blessings, this everyday blessings from Citrus Twist kits that I thought matched well. I'm still not loving that card. I will come back to it though. I'm going to instead work on this green card again because I was not loving how that came off. So that was the point that right there was where I turned off my camera. Now I have some ideas and I've come back to this. I'm like, okay, let's move on. First thing on my mind is putting down this tape. I was not loving the starkness of this page over here, so how white it was, and it felt like sort of blank. So one of my first ideas was to use this Cocoa Daisy tape that I used on my last layout too. I really love this thin washi tape. I have to remember that when I buy washi for myself, which I rarely do, I need to always buy this thin 1/4 inch washi tape because I really like it. But it also made a really great border for this page. Once I realized that I had to stick it all the way at the top of the edge of the page, I pull it back up from the bottom and stick it at the bottom edge of this page too because yeah, they had to be the same. I'm a little bit anal retentive that way. They had to be exactly the same. All right, so that's easy. Washi can come up pretty easily even though this wasn't shiny paper. Perfect. Oh, well, a little bit perfect. We're getting there. It's almost perfect. Phew. All right, next I am going to put down a couple of these berry branches. Well, they don't have berries, so I guess they're just branches. And I like the way that this frames the title a little bit more. It makes me a little happier. Takes up more space over there, which is good. And I want one little enamel dot. These are Cocoa Daisy enamel dots for the ball on the hat, but I go through a few colors before for some reason I decide on pink. I should have gone with pink to begin with. Hello, but perfect. All right, next let's go back over here. This, you can see the struggle in this page, just how much I'm jumping back and forth. So I really loved, like I said, that wreath, but I really wanted to use this wood veneer that said, "This place has my heart." I thought it was really appropriate for the first Christmas in our new home. So I didn't want it to have a horizontal word bit that said that, and then a horizontal word bit in the wreath that said, "'Tis the season." So I found a wreath that didn't say anything. Hooray. And I'm going to use this one instead. It's slightly larger, and obviously it has that bow that hangs down, so I kind of had to work with it and the wood veneer piece. I had to play around a little bit to make it work. I didn't want to cover up too much of the photo, but I'm okay with covering up a little bit of that tree stand because I hadn't put my tree skirt down yet. There we go. Now they're incorporated a little bit better, but I still don't love that dead space in between the photo and the wreath, so I'm going to take one of these peppermint hearts, and this is where it starts to come together for me. Okay, I'm like, okay, I love that. Let's put another one up here with this cute paper clip. Christmas tree paperclip. I'm okay with the floating Christmas tree. I like it. And then I decided, because I always have to have 3 of everything, I need one more. You can see my hands go, yes! I need one more, and that helped to fill up the space on this card that was driving me insane. And I got my power of 3 going with my cards here. Hooray! So now I'm happy. I need one more thing here. I'm going to put this actual berry branch on here. And I'm going to take off that enamel dot that I had put on there because I don't need the red enamel dot and the red berries. And then I'm finally happy. Yay! I'm going to call it good. Add some journaling when the camera goes off, or at least, you know, the couple of lines of journaling on that card when the camera goes off. And then I am all done. So if you enjoyed this video, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you. If you don't already, you can follow me over on Instagram. I'm at Traci M. Reed. I'd love to see you over there as well. There is a link in the description box below to the blog post for this page with credits and still images, as well as a bunch of information too. All right, I will see you next time. Thank you.